opportunity for them to demonstrate who they were, the services they were providing, the products that they were selling us, and how they were being utilized, and give the voters the confidence that they're looking for. Unfortunately, they're rescinding their acceptance of participation in our committee hearing, robbed our voters of that information. Dominion, questions that we had, did Dominion play a role in the tabulation of the votes cast? We don't know. And was it the same in all the counties? We don't know. Did Dominion program the software in the equipment that was used at the 12 counties? We don't know. It's what we're hearing they're doing in other states, but are they doing it here? We don't know. Was there direct county oversight? Was there expertise in that oversight? You can put anybody to oversee it, but if you don't know how it operates or why it operates, is that oversight? Were test runs conducted before the election? Were they done after the election? How do we know? Does Dominion use open source softwares so that observers can go in and they can see exactly what switches are being turned on and turned off? We don't know. Transparency is key. So if they're doing this, if they used open source software, right, we would know what's going on there. The average observer could take a look to see what that process is. Moreover, how tightly controlled is the source code, and who has control of that source code? For all of the Dominion software that's being used in every single one of these counties. Is it the state? Is it Dominion? Is it the county? We need to know these answers. So we know that we handled just a handful of companies. Actually, I'm sorry, a handful of companies have the corner of this market. I think there's only like 4 or 5 in the entire country that provide election equipment and software. We need to know exactly how this is being operated. Having an open source is one of the ways to do that. Blind trust is not something that we can do when software is programmed and operating has to be explained. Blind trust is just simply not acceptable. To say we're disappointed by Dominion's last-minute cancellation is an understatement. We have a duty as those constitutionally charged with the facilitations of elections in the state, and it's imperative that we demonstrate that our electoral process and our system was fair, was free, and was equitable. And unfortunately, without having these questions answered, we can't give voters the confidence that they're looking for. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. The issues and accusations could have been professionally addressed this morning. Pennsylvanians could have been put at ease, but we walk away more skeptical. With that, I'll take any questions. Yes. So, number one, our process is to fact find. We wanted to fact find. Part of this hearing was to fact find, to bring Dominion in and address all those concerns that are out there. We want answers. She just elevated them. You want to?
If CISA has said,
allow me to mention that CISA has a board that oversees elections and these vendors. Dominion has somebody that sits on that board. Did they participate in those hearings, in those conversations? Were they part of that? So, I mean, I think there's a little bit of a conflict of interest, and it's my understanding that each of these software and hardware companies have people that sit on this board. So, and as you ask, what do you have to say, because CISA says it was most fair, what proof do they have, without having performed the audits of everything, to say that it was the most free and fair and secure elections ever performed? What evidence did they provide? I haven't seen any.
y'all were here months ago talking about CISA standards for safety of people in this pandemic, and now CISA isn't good enough. It just does not make sense.
Standards.
Than an audit.
Right. So today we were supposed to sit down with Dominion and have an open forum discussion on all those issues. Whether they're true or not, let's have the discussion and knock them down to provide accuracy to our voters. They walked away from the table. There was no reason to do that. They're not being litigated. There's no lawsuit against Dominion that's currently filed. If we as a standing committee, if we as legislators that are duly elected to do oversight of state government, particularly of this election, how are we to do that if everybody that we want to have to ask questions to says, sorry, we can't come before you because we might get litigated. We are not going to get any answers or address any concerns. We're putting a stop to this right now. If you're not litigated and we ask you to come before us, we expect you to fulfill your promise of coming before us and address the questions that people have. It's not going to change the outcome, but we need to know what happened. Dominion was part of that. There are broad accusations. I didn't say they were true. I didn't validate any of those accusations. We wanted to give them the opportunity to address them. They chose not to. Why? That is what we want to know.
So have you talked to Chairman Saylor?
It adds more skeptical issues with our constituents moving forward. We just tried to have an open discussion. That was the point of the hearing, Steve.
So have you talked to Chairman Saylor about subpoenas? You have subpoena power? Are you going to
Subpoenas are a tool of the legislative body. They're effective in providing oversight. And that is as far as we're going to discuss subpoenas. Any other questions? No further questions. Thank you all for coming out. Hopefully Dominion will be responding to this with concrete answers to every single accusation that's been out there. Thank you.